Powertrax is brought to you by the heartbeat of America, today's Chevy truck.
See the lightning hit thunder roll.
Hello, everybody. I'm Richard Leek, along with Army Armstrong. We're in Memphis, Tennessee, not only the home of the king of rock and roll, Elvis Presley, but tonight, the home of the king of motorsports, the Redman TNT All-American Pulling Series for the super modified two-wheel drive competition, Army.
Richard, this evening we've got, I'm going to call them the Dirty Dozen. This national points chase is really tight. Wayne RAUSCH is here out of Ohio, your current national points leader. Your defending national champion, Jim Lyons, out of Louisville, Kentucky. He's here. And a young upstart named Mike Stowe out of Georgia is chasing them both. So we're going to have a Donnybrook in this two-wheel drive competition.
Well, no matter how good the competition is, track conditions are important, and the drought that's hit America has also hit the Redman TNT All-American Pulling Series.
It will definitely affect this event. They've been putting moisture into the track surface for over 24 hours. It just goes right through. So we're going to have a dusty condition to pull in this evening.
All right, the track's going to be rough. The competition's going to be hot. We'll be right back in Memphis, Tennessee. And welcome back to Memphis, Tennessee. I'm Richard Leek. I'm going to be topside tonight. Army Armstrong will be down trackside. It was really a beautiful day here in southwest Tennessee. Sunny today, dry and windy. The key word, dry. That is not good for these pullers. Army Armstrong's going to take a look at the track conditions tonight here at the Memphis Motorsports Park.
As we get ready to start the super modified two-wheel drive category on the Redman Tour in Memphis, Tennessee, the big problem tonight, the track. Once again, there's no moisture in the track. It has a consistency. What the pullers are saying is kind of like pulling on 300 feet of cat litter. There's no moisture. They've already completed one class of competition. You can look behind me. The track is a constant color. By this time in a pulling event, usually the moisture has come up from the track, and it should be a little bit darker. Not the case in Memphis, as the two-wheel supers are trying to figure out the right combination to take a win this evening.
All right, and coming to the line first tonight for our official test pool is your current national points leader, Wayne RAUSCH out of Dublin, Ohio, in yellow Model T.
Powered by Dodge Chrysler Hemi engine built by the Boggs brother out of Ohio. RAUSCH, currently your national points leader, like you say, drew that #1 spot. The #1 spot, it can be good, it can be bad. The two reasons behind it: number one, you have the first shot at the sled. You have an option to take or turn down the pull. Like you explained, they're using him basically as a test puller. He will be the only puller that will have the option to take or turn down that pull. Everybody watches RAUSCH. Lines up on the right side of the track. The weight, where you're going to put it tonight, will be the big question, Richard. Everybody is trying to figure out how to keep the power to the track. As we explained earlier, it is dusty. There's very little moisture in the track. The weight box comes up on the sled, ever getting more and more heavy as it goes down the track. He missed the weight. The front end skied on him awfully bad.
That is the reason for the bounce in and the highness on the front end.
We're going to keep an eye on RAUSCH. I would imagine, like we said, he's a test puller. The track official goes over. RAUSCH will make a choice now whether he will take or turn down the pull.
Now, what happens if he turns it down?
Okay, he indicated by the down turning of a finger he wants to drop in the field. He will come back and pull. Instead of the #1 spot, he will be officially the #7 puller in this class.
And what advantage would that be for Wayne RAUSCH?
Gives him a chance to watch the other drivers to see what they do, to see if they can figure the track out.
All right, then, our first official puller tonight will be Lige McLean out of DeMossville, Kentucky. He's in a vehicle by the name of Rowdy, and it's a good-looking one, Army.
Early model Chevrolet sheet metal. McLean, very, very tall individual, actually sits on the floor of the truck. Has done awfully well in the West Coast circuit. Out of DeMossville, Kentucky, he doesn't run the circuit year-round. He comes around and pulls in the summer with us, runs awfully strong. He also goes to the right side of the track, Richard.
Off and running he goes, and his front end is getting up a little bit.
Has always had a history of the truck not handling on the end of the track, and it looks like he's right back in the same problem. It hooked real hard to the right. He had to back on the throttle.
Lige McLean with the first official pull tonight of 265 feet plus a few inches. Army's going to make his way trackside now to talk to him.
Lige, you're the first one to get a shot on the track. What do you think?
Well, I think the track worked pretty good. The truck got a little out of shape here on the top end. I had to back off a little bit, but other than that, it's going to be a good track.
What we were looking at earlier is the moisture factor. Do you think there's any moisture in this track, or is it going to stay dry all night long?
I think it'll probably pretty well stay about like it is. It might come up a little bit, but not a lot.
So McLean out of Kentucky is your leader. Let's see what's going to happen now. The rest of the boys are coming after him.
And our second official puller tonight coming to the line now is Mike Stowe out of Warrington, Georgia, driving the Bad Dog Ford. Mike's a good one. He's third currently in the national point standings.
Powered by one of the ever-popular Arias engines, Stoll, one of the young up-and-comers. He's chasing these national points, believes he can put a national championship under his belt this year.
Pretty good pull going for him.
Looks good, but the weight again, you notice the front end skying on them awfully bad. Richard, they have a tremendous amount of weight on the rear of these vehicles tonight.
All right, Mike Stowe with a pull of 282.21 feet. And we're going to go trackside with Army Armstrong now.
We noticed, Mike, at about the 250-foot mark now, everybody's starting to hook to the right. What's going to happen there?
Well, there isn't a groove in the track yet for the two-wheelers. As soon as the groove develops, I believe a little moisture will start coming up. And I might have been a little light on the end down here. It's probably about 75 pounds too light. It's skiding right there at the end. And I don't know if the hole is awful dry and hard. Ain't nobody getting a hold to it. It's probably the moisture's going to come up, and I believe you'll see them going a little further. Probably going to end up with a pull-off.
Well, if the moisture does come up, that's good news for the rest of the field. Coming to the line now, Richard WHISENANT out of Union Grove, Alabama, with a good-looking machine by the name of Hot Shot.
Hot Shot, one of the awesome Chevrolet-powered vehicles on the circuit, the alcohol-burning Chevrolet. Now, this youngster looks to have his weight figured out, Richard. He's keeping the front end down. I'm going to go check it out.
Sparks flying from underneath. It looks like weights have flown off the front end of the Hot Shot machine, the Chevrolet S10 of Richard WHISENANT. Now, that is bad news for Richard. He is disqualified. Safety precautions, safety rules on the Redman TNT All-American Pulling Circuit Series is that if any weights come off a vehicle, you are disqualified for the night. So bad news for him, possibly a broken crankshaft. He could have had a rod let go. Let's go down trackside with Army to find out what happened.
Right now, Richard WHISENANT out of Union Grove, Alabama, laid down a super shot at the 150-foot mark. Something let go. You have any idea what it was, Richard?
No, I don't. Don't have any idea.
Well, I tell you what, the safety crew's checking everything out. We'll be getting back to action in just a minute. We're going back upstairs.
All right, so the pull to beat right now continues to be Mike Stowe's Bad Dog Ford pull at 282.21 feet. Coming to the line now, Lindy Alexander out of Weiner, Arkansas. Lindy is a 26-year-old rice farmer, and he's driving a 1941 Studebaker pickup truck. And, Army, one thing about these guys, they love putting this unique classic sheet metal on these vehicles.
The Studebaker is a crowd favorite wherever he goes. Powered by Chevrolet, but the Studebaker draws a lot of crowd appeal. The black sheet, the name of it, they like that. He's got a real good run going, Richard. He stays to the middle of the track. The front end stays down. We got a good shot.
It is a good pull. He definitely had the weight right. It looked nice and straight, but the distance not so hot. About 15 feet off the lead, it's 267 plus for Lindy Alexander, the track official telling him to hold it up while they disconnect the sled there. That, of course, for safety reasons. Army Armstrong, as you know, is always trackside. He has seen something wrong on the Lindy Alexander machine. I have no idea what that might be. We'll find out here in just a minute as Army has Lindy come over to talk about a nice-looking pull.
Lindy Alexander out of Weiner, Arkansas, overcoming a little adversity this evening. He's currently in the number 2 spot. Did you have any idea on that shot that you were having a problem with the fuel system?
No, I didn't know it. I didn't know it until I saw somebody motion when I quit.
Well, I tell you what, step over here a second. If you look at the fuel cell, you'll notice a leak. Developed about halfway down the track. The engine did not lean out. Lindy, congratulations. You hung tough.
Thank you.
That brings to the line Wayne Pendleton, Tulsa, Oklahoma, in a 1935 Diamond T Rio.
Chrysler for horsepower, a good run, a little bit light on the nose. He's working the left side of the track, Richard.
Wayne Pendleton, not with a very good-looking pull, a great-looking vehicle, though. His distance, 256.65 feet. We'll be right back. We are back in Memphis, Tennessee. A nice crowd tonight. As you see, Wayne Pendleton's pull of 256.65 feet up on the scoreboard here. I'm Richard Leek. I'm topside. Army Armstrong is down trackside. And coming to the line now is your national points leader, Wayne RAUSCH out of Dublin, Ohio, bringing back the yellow Model T.
Richard, this is the second opportunity we've had to see RAUSCH this evening in this vehicle. He took that number 1 position and turned it down in order to come back and pull the number 7 spot in the field.
So perhaps he's learned something from the test pull as he is off and running.
RAUSCH looking good, right hand on the throttle. The engine makes kind of a little squirrely sound, but he's got some ground speed.
He has got a great pull going, not quite a full pull. Wayne RAUSCH, perhaps it's Dr. Wayne RAUSCH. He's got a doctorate from Ohio State University. Your new leader at 296 feet.
Wayne RAUSCH, 296.85. I put you number 1. You think you're going to be able to stay there?
I think it's got a shot at it. There's some good trucks coming up yet, though.
I'll tell you, a moment ago we noticed kind of a shrill sound coming out of the engine. You think you may have done some damage on that shot?
Yeah, my mechanic, Steve Boggs, we did something to it. We don't know what yet.
Wayne Roush, he brought 2 bullets with him tonight. Yellow 23's your current leader. They're bumping each other around in Memphis. Let's see if he can stay on top of the pile.
To the line now, Darrell Varner out of Midway, Kentucky in rare breed. Midway, Kentucky is just that. Midway between Frankfort, the state capital, and Lexington, the home of the great thoroughbreds, and he's hoping his rare breed can be a thoroughbred now, but he's got problems right away.
All kind of problems, Richard. Right on the starting on it, burped on him a little bit. The only thing he could do was nail the throttle. He did that, and it skied on him awfully bad.
Well, it looks great for the crowd being up that high, but it's very poor for the driver. 252.97 feet for Darrell Varner.
Not the run he wants, I'll guarantee it. The starting line really hurt him. It just, when it finally bit, it bit too much for him.
Well, you see the track officials down there telling him to hold it up. That's, once again, a safety precaution. He gets the word to take it on off the track. Army Armstrong is down trackside. We're going to find out what happened on that wild ride.
All right, Darrell Varner, I tell you what, left the starting line, had a hesitation, got in the throttle, it skied on you. That was one heck of a ride you just took, son.
It was a heck of a ride. I've never had a ride like that. I got a little antsy down there on the end because everybody's been bleeding it out so far. And when I got into it, my tires tried to hook on me, and when they started hooking, there wasn't no way out then. Wide open to see what happened.
Kind of like diving off the high dive. Once you left the line, you had to go on through it to pull.
So to the line now is Chuck Chitwood out of Lafayette, Tennessee. Chuck has named his vehicle after his video store, which he owns there in Lafayette, Fast Forward. And Army, that's exactly what he hopes he's doing down the track tonight.
He's teamed up with the Cunningham GMC sponsorship with his awesome GMC with one of the most expensive engines on the tour. Misses the weight a little bit, but he's got some good ground speed, but he's in trouble.
Smoke pouring out of the top and the bottom of the machine. Possibly blown engine right there. Chuck Chitwood. Bad luck here in Memphis, Tennessee. As a matter of fact, it has been a tough luck summer for Chuck Chitwood. Earlier during the summer, his house burned down while he and his family were away on the tour. And now, as you can see, it looks like that beautiful machine is out of commission with possibly a blown motor, oil pouring out of it onto the track.
The Redman official, Mike Snyder, standing to my right, gave the worst sign in the world. He pointed to the bottom of the Fast Forward of Chuck Chitwood and indicated he had lost a rod or something through the bottom of the engine. Chuck, you have any idea it was going away on you? A lot of smoke coming off that right bank, but you stayed after it.
Yeah, I really don't know, Army. It's just, it could be a number of things. It could be a rod. I'll just have to tear it down and see. I just don't know.
Well, I tell you what, that's a tough break for one of the strongest pullers out of the state of Tennessee and one of the strongest GMCs in America. We'll see him again another day in a winner's circle.
And to the line now for the third time tonight, Wayne Roush, this time in Little Red Truck. Wayne is the leader in his yellow Model T currently.
Sitting on top with a Model T, would like to give it the old 1-2 punch. He brought his engine builder with him tonight to try to dominate this competition. He's got some good ground speed. Let's see what's going to happen.
Wayne Roush, you saw how intense he is as he comes down the track. Not a great pull, 277.94 feet. He continues to lead, though, and he is with Army.
We told you the story about Wayne Roush. He carries 2 bullets with him on the Redman Tour. Currently, the 23 Ford was the leader. Wayne, this one just went a 277, put you number 3, so right now you're sitting first and third. How are we feeling?
Feeling good, and I don't think we hurt the motor in this one, so that's doubly good.
Roush trying to stay alive in Memphis, Tennessee on the Redman Tour.
And to the line now, David Steff out of Louisville, Kentucky, one of 2 Louisville drivers here tonight. David is driving Temptations.
Temptations sets a little bit taller than the rest of the trucks on the tour, and that's not the right combination, Richard. He's having all kind of problems as he's trying to get down this 300-foot Memphis track.
And what would cause him to veer there to the left?
The truck is just not biting consistent. The engine popped on him a little bit. 220 feet, not the distance I know he was looking for.
No, as a matter of fact, David Steff is going to be heading back to Louisville later this evening without a win tonight. Another Louisville driver is due up next, a guy by the name of Jim Lyons. And Army's, he's got quite a background.
3 times national champion in this sport. He was Puller of the Year last year. Lyons looking awfully strong on this Redman Tour.
Well, earlier this afternoon in Memphis, Army Armstrong spent time with Jim Lyons.
You know, in motorsports, you hear a lot of American stories. Jim Lyons out of Louisville, Kentucky, kind of atypical. In the 50s, a generation of the 50s cruising the boulevards of Louisville, Kentucky. In the 60s, became very heavily involved in the sport of professional drag racing and won a world championship. The 70s, he progressed on up into engine building, running his own engine shop and chassis shop, specializing a whole lot in the sport of circle track racing. In the 70s, he teamed up with a group of men out of Tennessee, Alfred Turner and Milton Bulls, to fill 2 of the strongest GMC trucks in America. In the 2-wheel drive category and the modified 4x4 category, Jim Lyons has won 5 national championships on the TNT Redman Tour. He was also voted Puller of the Year last year by the pullers themselves. Jim, what possessed you in this progression to get involved in the sport of professional truck and tractor pulling?
Army, these boys out of Gamelia, Kentucky, Stitches Incorporated, they called me, want me to do a motor for them, and I did a motor for them, and then later on they called me, want me to take the truck and pull it. They'd done so good with it, and they didn't have time to go, so they sent me pulling, and it just progressed on to where I eventually took the trucks and done all of it myself. I built a new two-wheeler for them. We've run it. We've been super successful with it.
Well, now, the two-wheeler, the rules specify with the two-wheel class, the engine must stay in a stock location. You had actually played around with the two and the four-wheeler of actually turning the engine and so on and so forth. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
We had one truck with a motor in it sideways, and it took so much horsepower to pull the cross box for the gear ratio that we never could get it to work. The truck worked super, but we couldn't find enough horsepower to pull the angle drive that we had in it.
Well, what do you think, being on the threshold of this sport, what do you think the future has in the sport, both in the two-wheel drive super category and the modified 4x4?
Well, the way it's looking, we're going to have to go more horsepower and bigger motors, so we're up to 750 cubic inch on the cubic inch limit now on the four-wheeler, so we're going to have to go to there.
Okay, 3 national champions in the two-wheel drive category, Puller of the Year. What is in the future for Jim Lyons on the Redman Tour in 1988?
I can't guarantee nothing. I hope, but, you know, I can't guarantee a thing because there's a lot of good trucks out here. All the guys run super good. They're strong, and everybody's keeping up their equipment and making them run right.
Kind of an American success story. A couple of successful businessmen out of Tennessee team up with a bluegrass puller, and Jim Lyons has made them #1. The Stitches team, one to always watch on the Redman Tour.
And we'll be back to watch Jim Lyons pull in just a moment. And back in Memphis, Tennessee, to the line now, out of Louisville, Kentucky, Jim Lyons, a 3-time national TNT champion in the two-wheel drive vehicles, driving Stitches, of course, the pull to beat tonight. Thus far is Wayne Roush's yellow Model T pull of 296.85 feet. Jim Lyons is off and running.
Lyons rolls the throttle. He'll pull the trigger about the 75. He pulled the trigger and nothing happened, Richard.
He just let off the throttle, violently jerked him midway down through the track. Jim Lyons with a pull of only 271.60 feet. He is trackside with Army.
One of the premier drivers in the sport, Jim Lyons, just had to backpedal at half track to keep the Stitches GMC in bounds. Jim, what caused the truck to sky on you at half track?
I missed the weight a little bit, and then, I don't know, we got a spider locked up in the rear end, I'm sure, because I had the trouble last night, so I think that's the problem there. It was just a rear end bad.
I'll tell you what, he stayed after it. You know, amazing in this sport, once you leave that starting line, you got to go. He had to backpedal, got back in it. He's still going to get some points on the Redman Tour.
And now we're down to our final vehicle of the night, Billy Johns out of Adairville, Kentucky, a 58-year-old farmer. There's a story behind this machine. The Willy Makit colors there. The first time his wife saw these colors, she called him Squirrely Muldowney after Shirley Muldowney, the drag racer that runs the same colors, and he's off and running.
Tremendous ground speed for early model Willis. It's still alive and well in Memphis, Tennessee on the Redman Tour.
Billy Johns, even though he's high in the air, has got a good pull going. Is it enough to beat Wayne Roush? No, the word comes 289.53 feet. Good enough for second place tonight, though, for Billy Johns, who is trackside with Army Armstrong.
You know, years ago, you'd only see a 40 Willis in the sport of drag racing. Not so. Billy Johns just puts this rascal in the #2 spot on the Redman Tour this evening. Super run, and you drew it at the bottom of the field.
Thank you, thank you. I was well pleased with my run.
Well, by drawing at the bottom of the field this evening, do you think that affected the moisture of the track? Did it ever come around? We've been watching that all evening long.
I don't believe the track changed. I moved weights around quite a bit after watching some of the other pullers. That helped me quite a bit.
Well, I tell you what, congratulations go to the gentleman with one of the prettiest vehicles on the pulling circuit. Willy Makit finished second tonight in Memphis.
And when we come back to Memphis, we'll take another look at the top 2 pulls tonight. For the night, and as you've seen already, the competition very, very close on the Redman TNT All-American Pulling Series as sophisticated vehicles pull an equally sophisticated sled. Now that means an accurate measuring device is needed on the circuit. Here's Army Armstrong to explain how the laser measuring device works.
You know, it's amazing in the sport of professional pulling how the competitors will travel thousands of miles to compete, but it all comes down to the nearest 1/1000th of a foot. The electronic laser measuring device was brought into the sport about 3 years ago. The way it works, very simple. On the front of the sled, the prism is located about 8 feet in the air. Once the pull is completed and the sled stops, the laser operator will shoot a beam into the prism. The beam will bounce back 2 figures. One's a distance, one's an angle. They put that into a computer. We can read out the nearest 1/1000th of a foot measuring distance to find out who will be the leader on the Redman Tour.
So that is how they measured during the competition. Here's how they measured up tonight in Memphis. In 5th place this evening, Chuck Chitwood, and it was a very expensive 5th place finish.
The 5th place shot will help him in points, but I tell you what, it cost him about a $30,000 engine to do it, Richard.
4th tonight to Wayne Roush in his red vehicle, and 3rd place tonight went to the current 3rd place person in the point standings, Mike Stowe.
Stowe is on a tear chasing these points.
2nd place tonight went to a crowd favorite, though, Billy Johns out of Adairville, Kentucky, in Willy Makit. We're going to take a look at that 2nd place finish pull, and that's just a great-looking machine, isn't it?
The beautiful 40 Willis comes back to life. For years, it was on a drag strip. It sat in a barn for a while, and now it's back out, and believe me, it is beautiful. He told us in a post-race interview that he watched the other drivers to see where they put their weight, and that's what helped him. You'll notice here, tremendous amount of ground speed. Watching the other drivers pay dividends to finish number 2 for John.
Well, even though Billy got high in the air toward the end of the pull, it was a good enough distance for 2nd place tonight. But once again, your winner, Wayne Roush out of Dublin, Ohio. He is your current national points leader. Pulls off another win tonight. This one in his yellow Model T, probably one of the premier vehicles on the circuit.
Roush teamed up with Tim Engler to design a new chassis to chase these Redman points down. And I tell you what, Richard, he's going to be tough to beat the rest of the year. He's taking his engine builder on tour. As you explained, he runs 2 vehicles on the tour. This one is your national points leader. He's won from California to Memphis, chasing these Redman points.
And you can see the intensity on Wayne's face as he heads down the track. This a replay of the winning pull, and he had everything working for him.
Had the weight set exactly perfect. The 2nd run on it, remember, he turned the 1st pull down and came back to take this one. It worked for him.
Now, what is the smoke that comes out from underneath the engine compartment?
They call that blubber tube. It's just an overflow of heat.
So, of course, safety precautions there on these vehicles. Your winner tonight, Wayne Roush. But one guy that did not finish well tonight, Jim Lyons, 2nd in the point standings, had a rough night tonight.
Lyons is going to have to kind of go back to Louisville, Kentucky, regroup. But believe me, before the year's over, you're going to see Stowe, Roush, and Lyons in a 3-way battle for these Redman championship points.
So that'll do it from Memphis, Tennessee. We will see you down the road on the Redman TNT All-American Pulling Series circuit, along with our